Hi, and welcome to another episode of Now Reviewing. My name is Dr. Era Datta, and I'm a consultant psychiatrist. I practice online primarily, and I consider myself a mental health ninja because I bust myths. Out of just curiosity and out of passion, I make YouTube videos, I make content on Instagram. So don't forget to follow me. The channel handle is going to be put somewhere there. And I love interacting with people to know what's going on inside their mind. So today, I'm going to review another interesting bit. देखते देखते आज क्या रिव्यू करेंगे let's see okay. So this is a cool video I came across, which is called 5 Crazy Ways Social Media is Changing Your Brain Right Now. अच्छे खासे views हैं, and this is from ASAP Science, which has got a pretty good viewership. So I figured क्यों ना review करें, and I need you for reviewing. So I figured कि साथ में करते हैं. मैंने कभी नहीं देखी है. It's my first time as well. So tag along.
Social media sites being used by 1/3 of the entire world, they've clearly had a major influence on society. But what about our bodies? Here are 5 crazy ways that social media and the internet are affecting your brain right now.
Before even I begin, obviously I am on social media. I'm presuming you are too. Social media has become such a major part of our life. हम लोग की लाइफ चलती नहीं आजकल सोशल मीडिया पे. लोग सुबह उठते से सबसे पहले भगवान का नाम लेने से पहले भी देखते हैं कि ट्विटर पे क्या चेंज हुआ, इंस्टाग्राम पे क्या चेंज हुआ, फेसबुक पे क्या चेंज हुआ. Obviously, it's detrimental for our mental health. But let's see, आज देखते हैं क्या 5 ways our brain has changed.
Can't log off? Surprisingly, 5 to 10% of internet users are actually unable to control how much time they spend online. Though it's a psychological addiction as opposed to a substance addiction, brain scans of these people actually show a similar impairment of regions that those with drug dependence have.
Very beautiful point. So social media की कभी भी physical addiction नहीं होती है. हालांकि हाथ restless हो जाते हैं if you don't find your dear device nearby. But psychological dependence बहुत ज़्यादा होती है. मतलब psychological addiction. I can't live without it. I think I cannot live without it. So drugs में क्या होता है? Physical withdrawal होता है. But ज़्यादातर social media अगर हम बंद कर दें suddenly तो उसमें psychological withdrawal होता है. कुछ लोगों को physical withdrawal भी होता है, meaning they feel restless and they feel out of sorts.
Specifically, there's a clear degradation of white matter in the regions that control emotional processing, attention, and decision making.
Wow.
Because social media provides immediate rewards with very little effort required, your brain begins to rewire itself, making you desire these stimulations. And you begin to crave more of this neurological excitement after each interaction.
This is called the dopamine effect. So whenever we do something which our brain believes is good for it, it sends a reward chemical called the dopamine. But the more we do, एक point आता है हर चीज plateau हो जाती है, right? You stop getting the hit that is there. So for sure, I mean, what happens is when you're constantly scrolling, at a point you just start feeling dull. You're wondering, मजा क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? And that's because of the plateauing. And yes, social media impairs your attention, impairs your emotions, decision making. So many people, youngsters, and even all walks of life of people are coming to me and asking me these days that why is my attention so poor? Why is my memory so poor? Do I have ADHD? Okay, not everybody will have ADHD. Not everybody will have dementia. The idea is you are letting yourself get distracted with these external distractions. Work on them, please.
Sounds a little like a drug, right? We also see a shift when looking at multitasking. You might think that those who use social media or constantly switch between work and websites are better at multitasking, but studies have found that when comparing heavy media users to others, they perform much worse during task switching tests.
There's a beautiful book called One Thing at a Time, and the book talks about how we are a society driven by multitasking. एक साथ बहुत कुछ करने की आदत हम सबने डाली हुई है, अच्छी नहीं है. आपके कितने टैब्स खुले हुए हैं? मेरे भी अक्सर काफ़ी बारी खुले रहते हैं. मैं सोचती हूँ ये भी पढ़ना है, ये भी रीड करना है, उसको ये भेजना है. इसी तरह से हम काफ़ी बारी मल्टीटास्क करते हैं. यहाँ हमारा वीडियो चल रहा है और यहाँ हमारा हाथ चल रहा है. Stop multitasking, guys. Not great for your mental health.
Increased multitasking online reduces your brain's ability to filter out interferences and can even make it harder for your brain to commit information to memory. Like when your phone buzzes in the middle of productive work. Or wait, did it even buzz? Phantom vibration syndrome is a relatively new psychological phenomenon where you think you felt.
So true. Phantom vibration. लग रहा है फोन बज कर रहा है पर नहीं कर रहा है. जैसे लोग एक टाइम पे कहते थे आई थिंक माय चाइल्ड इज क्राइंग बट द चाइल्ड वाज नॉट क्राइंग, एंड सिमिलरली नाउ वी फील लाइक phones are buzzing but they're not.
Your phone go off, but it didn't. In one study, 89% of test subjects said they experienced this at least once every 2 weeks.
Oh.
It would seem that our brains now perceive an itch as an actual vibration from our phone. As crazy as it seems, technology has begun to rewire our nervous system, and our brains are being triggered in a way they never have before in history. Social media also triggers a release release of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. Using MRI scans, scientists found that the reward centers in people's brains are much more active when they're talking about their own views as opposed to listening to others. Not so surprising, we all love talking about ourselves, right? But it turns out that while 30 to 40% of face-to-face conversations involve communicating our own experiences, around 80% of social media communication is self-involved. The same part of your brain related to orgasms, motivation, and love are stimulated by your social media use, and even more so when you know you have an audience.
More followers. People are craving that. They're moving away from real connections, from authentic, genuine people to just people who kind of massage their ego by giving them more boost. And that's what social media is all about these days, sadly. It was meant to connect us all. It's making us lose connections in some ways.
Our body is physiologically rewarding us for talking about ourselves online. But it's not all so self-involved. In fact, studies on relationships have found that partners tend to like each other more if they meet for the first time online rather than with a face-to-face interaction. Whether it's because people are more anonymous or perhaps more clear about their future goals, there's a statistical increase in successful partnerships that started online. So while the internet has changed our verbal communication with increased physical separation, perhaps the ones that matter the most end up even closer. Speaking of social media, check it out.
Great job, guys. I think so far the video is excellent. I really liked it. कैसे इन्होंने explain किया है. I want to quickly read the comment section. That's something I love doing. मुझे बहुत सारा मसाला, बहुत सारा information, बहुत सारा thought process मिलता है comment section में. I wish science in my school was taught like this. I agree, buddy. I wish we were all taught like this. The internet is destroying and improving my life at the same time. The boon and the bane. Obviously, you have to learn balance. That's the idea. अच्छा बुरा हर चीज में, everything has a flip side. But what do you focus on, or where do you get focused, or where do you just bend towards? Hey guys, really love the show. You're doing a fantastic job. I do agree. ASAP Science doing a good job. So a lot of social media validation. Good job. Essentially, it all boils down to the fact that social media is here to stay. Let's be honest. It's got some good parts. I know people who were able to send resources during the COVID pandemic to each other because of connectivity on social media. We know what's happening in Ukraine because of social media to a certain extent. I know that people have taken the right to speech or the freedom of speech quite literally, and also in a good way in certain respects on social media. Great, I'm a big fan. The only problem that I have is that always focus on create more than you can consume principle, meaning that if you're constantly just consuming data, somewhere it's causing a plaque formation on your brain and you're not really being your 100%. You're not going to get as creative thoughts. You're not going to be as motivated. Create things. Go outside, create something. Go in the kitchen, create something. You watch videos all day long about cooking on YouTube. जाके खाना बनाइए, कुछ तो बनाइए उससे related. So try to balance. Balance is always my USP. It's always my mantra. So that was today's Now reviewing, and I hope you liked it. And please leave in comment another one that you'd like me to review, and I'll see you in the next one. Dr. Datta signing off. Ta-ta.